Hi, welcome to my channel. Persist, detach, let it go, affirm, script, visualize. What is it that actually works? What do you need to do? What should you be doing? What shouldn't you be doing? Right, first of all, let's talk about persistence. Coaches that talk about persistence talk about it because they've used it and it's worked for them. That's what it is. Everybody that coaches here, I believe, talks about it from their own point of view, because what else can you do? I'm not going to talk about anything I haven't done. But what I'm going to say is this: affirmations, along with anything else, is completely irrelevant to the manifestation process, because an affirmation it's you using words and phrases that have an energetic value that will guide you to that particular energy and that particular feeling state if they are said in the right way. And by that I mean, if you are taking 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, 5 minutes in the evening and affirming like a crazy person, but all of the while feeling like it's a chore, like it's something you have to get through and you have to do it because you are told just persist, persist, persist and you'll get what you want. That isn't true. You don't just get what you want because you persist. You don't just get what you want because you affirm over and over and over. It's what state you're in as you're doing it, and it isn't necessary. I love robotic affirmations. They are something that I absolutely love doing, and I've only been using them a couple of months, but there are certain times I don't do them. If I really, really want something in my life, if I really, really want something in my life that has a certain urgency to it, I'm not going to use them. I look at what I want in my life and what it will suit me to use them for and what it won't. And I'm very choosy with how I use them. And the main reason I use them is because I like the focus it gives me. It gives me a focus on the other thing that I'm doing. But it also, when it's things that have got a long time to unfold, it just kind of helps me get clarity of mind that this is what I want and this is how I want it. So that helps me, but it isn't necessary. I haven't used them in years and it hasn't affected me whatsoever. You're choosing what you want to experience in the quantum field, and that is it. So really, you could just make a list of things that you wanted and go, okay, I want this. Why do I want this? How's this particular thing going to enhance my life? Feel the choice that you're making for it. Don't entertain the idea of the other options. You don't have to entertain the idea of other things in order to be let go from it and detached from it. I don't do that. If I really want something, I'm like, no, this is what I want. I get that there's a quantum pool of stuff and there are all of these other possibilities out there or in there, wherever they are, I don't know. I get that and I accept that, but I choose this. So even with the little things, you have to feel the choice for it. You have to feel the want for it, the clarity, whatever it is, even if it's a free cup of coffee. That for me, even still now, would be harder to manifest than £500. It would be. Because a cup of coffee, I'm like, well, how am I going to get that? Like, you're very aware of who's around you in that moment. My friend a little while ago was thinking that she would really fancy a Kit Kat. So she's thinking, I really fancy a Kit Kat. So I just kept thinking it. And she said then about an hour later, this guy, at the time she was in a particular office, opposite her, came into her office and put a Kit Kat down on her desk and said, oh, I was just at the shop and I thought you might fancy some chocolate. And she just couldn't believe it. It's like, what the hell? So it's a natural flow. You feel the desire for something, and she really wanted it. I just really felt like I really fancy a Kit Kat. She got her Kit Kat, but there was no expectation of anyone buying her a Kit Kat or anything. So she didn't stick any resistance in there. If I decided I want somebody to bring me a coffee at work, for example, and that's not something that happens. Nobody brings me a coffee. There's a couple of us. There's a guy and a girl in the office, like my friend, and then another guy. And if we're going to the kitchen, we will offer each other coffee. But no one is going to come into the office generally and go, bring me a cup of coffee. So if I decided that, then I have chosen that. So it would happen if I could just go, that's what I choose, and then just forget about it. But I know that I would keep looking for somebody coming in with a cup of coffee for me. I was thinking, who's going to do that? Because it's a very little simple thing, but it's not something that's likely to happen. But if I felt it with, no, I really, really want this. I really, really want, I'm like, of course, it's a cup of coffee, but just say I did feel, I really, really want this. I really want someone to bring me a cup of coffee. I really want somebody that wouldn't normally bring me a cup of coffee to bring me a cup of coffee. And just kind of really let it go and then just got on with my day. I forgot all about it. Somebody would bring me a cup of coffee. for sure. But because it's that stuff that you've got this confirmation bias of everything else going on, it's difficult to do that, and I probably still keep thinking of it. But if I decided I want a random £500, for example, which sometimes I do things like that, that I wouldn't hold any resistance with. I wouldn't be expecting it, and then something would happen. It might not be an exact 500, it might be a bit less, it might be a bit more, but and it might be a few days, but it would be more likely to happen than somebody coming into my office randomly that would never just come in with a cup of coffee for me. Because I would think, well, thing is, nobody knows that. Who knows that I even drink coffee, other than whoever's in the office now. I mean, some people do, but it would be, I would overthink it. I wouldn't be able to help it because I've got a human mind, We're human beings. And I know that what I would be doing would be holding it back, but that would still happen. So I've digressed slightly. What I'm saying here is nothing is important. So just imagine that this is about flow. It is. We know that because we've manifested things really fast. And everybody would have done. And you can call it coincidence, you call it what you like, but it isn't. It's like a natural flow of things that happen based on your feelings in the moment. So you're in a timeline and you want something, and you're going along in this timeline, and you suddenly decide you don't want this anymore, you want something else. So you then shift into another timeline where you're going to get this other thing, and this thing's going to fall away that you initially thought that you wanted. So you've moved, and that is happening all of the time, whether you know it or not. It is. It's a constant thing. If you are going downstream, bobbing downstream in a little boat, you're flowing nicely, you're going with the flow, and then you suddenly get out of the boat and you start trying to push it back upstream. That is you when you're trying hard. That is you when you're affirming from a state of lack. That is you when you're overdoing things, when you're thinking, what else can I do? I would suggest that you start looking at stuff that isn't related to manifestation. You start looking at other types of videos on YouTube and really sort of shift your attention a bit away from manifestation, so that manifestation isn't the biggest part of your life, that you're constantly looking at manifesting things. Just know that it's flow. It's all about flow. It's not about what you do, it's about how you feel. And if you can get on board like I am, that everything I see is me, it's much easier to do that, because then you can step back and you can look at what's going on when it's not to your liking and think, but I know what's going on inside of me, and I know what's going on inside of me is aligned with what I can see, because it will be. There'll be something in there aligning with what it is that you see, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing it. It's about cultivating that internal environment for what you want to actually be able to thrive. And it can't thrive if you have a contrary environment. So if you are affirming and you're really feeling like you don't have this, but you have to force through, the environment that you've created is that you don't have it. It's the disappointment, it's the try hard. That's the environment. So the thing that you want cannot live in that. It cannot possibly survive in that environment. So just imagine either you overwater a plant, like I've done actually. My mother-in-law gave me this lovely, I don't know what it is, some sort of weird plant, but I didn't realise that you weren't supposed to water it. And I'm thinking, I'm really looking after this, and it's just dying left, right and centre. But now I realise that I was overwatering it, so I've had to stop. And that's what we're doing with these things. I've stopped, and now it's coming back to life. So I need instructions for plants, because I have no idea about plants. So you can overwater something by doing too much in order to get it, or you can do the opposite and not water something. So if you just leave something in the state that it's in, and it's not, and it is in alignment with all the stuff you don't want, but you leave it and you don't do anything about it, then that's equally as frustrating to you, because you won't get what you want because you're not creating the right environment. Look what you need to do to create the right environment, and that's either just feeling very free and neutral most of the time, or it's feeling that thing as if you already have it. Yeah, there's that as well, but that's difficult for most people. Or there's just a freeness or an optimism or a hopefulness. It's just a different vibe than not having. So if you're always asking yourself why you haven't got things, you will never have those things, because you're creating the environment of I don't have these things. Right, so it's not about what you do. That's what I'm saying in this video. It's not about what you do. Persistence isn't important, nothing's important. It's just your feeling state that's important and nothing else. Right, thanks so much for watching. If you don't know anything about me, I'm an author, manifestation coach and a mindset coach.